Today we'll be learning how to make this elegant standing spiral flounce. Okay, it can actually be anywhere. You can have it hanging around your neckline, your waist, or anywhere you want it to be. It's a very simple tutorial and it is beginner friendly. If this is what you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so to make this now, we'll be drafting a spiral flounce. How to do this, we've done this many times on the channel already. I already drafted my 4 points. I just marked this 4 straight lines, and this is the intersection point. So on the intersection point, I marked 1 inch round, and then here I'm going to be marking. I'm going to be choosing one quadrant here, and then I'll go ½ inch inwards, which is here, and then on the second quadrant, I'm going to get the midpoint, which is around here. So here I'm going to take my actual length measurements. Now I wish to use 4 inches for this, but my fabric will not be enough, so I think I'm going to use around 3.5. But if you have enough fabric, you can use 5, depending on how high you want it to be. So I'm just trying to change the color of my chalk so that we can see it better. So here now I'm going to be measuring my actual length, which is 3.5 in this case. So I'm measuring the 3.5 here, and then here on this midpoint also, let me redraw it. Okay, I'm also going to be measuring the 3.5 inches here. So I have it like this. So now the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to connect from here, from this point here, all the way to this new midpoint here. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to connect it, and then from there now I'll start measuring my 3.5 inches round, and then I'll keep connecting it. I'll measure another 3.5 inches till I fill up the whole space. Okay, so if you don't understand, just watch my video on spiral flounce. I did a more elaborate explanation on it, but I don't want us to start repeating that, so that this video will not be too long. So you just keep measuring it round now, and then you keep connecting it. So it's that simple. So here also I have my 3.5 inches, and then I will be measuring the 3.5 inches round, and then I'm going to be connecting them together like that. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing. So this is like the second layer, and then I'm going over like this. So that is how you do till you fill up the whole space. Okay, so now I've drawn out everything now, and then I placed 4 fabrics on top of each other. That's why I pinned it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. So I placed 4 fabrics together so that I can cut them together. So now I'll just be working with the fabric that I have, then we will see what this is going to give us. So now I'll start to cut my flounce from here. Okay, so I'm going to start to cut my flounce. So what you just need to do is cut through the lines that you already made. And by the way, I'm using a satin fabric for this tutorial. You can use any fabric of your choice. So I'm cutting around it now. So I've not started the main flounce, I'm just cutting off the excess that I have. Cutting off the excess that I have now. I'm cutting off the excess. So my main flounce starts from here, so I'm just going to cut this off now. Okay, so the excess is gone now. So this is the flounce that I have to work with, and then I'm just going to be cutting through the line that I have. So I'll keep cutting like that. Okay, so I'm cutting now, and I'm almost at the end point. So now after cutting this, now I'll be sewing this with a crinoline. If you are using fabrics like scuba that you don't need to line, you can also use boning. You can use boning at the edge. If you watch my video on spiral flounce with boning, it will give you an idea of how you can do this. So You can also use bony to get this standing effect, but for this I'll be using this crinoline. So remember, I'm using like, this is around 3.5 inches, so which is quite small. I cannot use a crinoline that is too wide, so that I'll be able to turn it perfectly. So I'm just going to be working with this 1 inch crinoline, and I'm going to be sewing it to the hemline. So I'm going to be detaching this now. Remember, I said I folded 4, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 2 for my main fabric and 2 for my lining. Okay, so now I'll detach it now, and then I'm going to repin it. So by the time I pin 2, I'll take it to the machine. This fabric that I'm working with is quite strong on its own, so I'll not be adding any interface to this. But if you're using a fabric that is too soft, you can also add interface to it, so that it can enhance the crinoline that you'll be passing through this. But I'm not adding any interface to this. I'm just going to detach this now, and then take it 2 and as I'm detaching it, I'm also pinning it, and I already have them right side facing right side, so I don't want it to scatter. So I'm just detaching it and then repinning them separately. 2 for my main fabric, 2 for my lining. Then I'll take this to the machine now, and then I'm going to sew my crinoline to it. So when I'm sewing it, I want to remember this is just going to be hanging on the neckline. Depending on where you want it to be, you may want to either turn this inner part neatly also, or you just serge it with a serger. Whichever one you choose is fine, but I think I'm going to be turning this. But this, my flounce is a bit narrow, so it's not so wide. It may be difficult for me to turn it out, but it is possible. So we're just going to be trying that out. So now I don't want this video to be too long. I'm just going to be sewing my crinoline to this now and bring it back to show us. Okay, so I've gone ahead to add my crinoline to it, as you can see now, and I sew it on the down part and on the upper part so that I can turn it neatly. So the next thing now, I'm going to remove my pins. Then after removing my pins, I'm going to turn out this flounce. So after turning it out, I'll take it to the machine, to the ironing table, and iron it flat. But you know, this is a crinoline and it may not be easy for you to iron. So another thing you can do as a beginner is to first top stitch with a matching thread, so that the crinoline can relax better before you iron it. So now what I'm doing is turning this out. I'm going to turn out everything neatly so that I'll have it neat. So you just keep turning it out like this till you completely turn out everything. So now I'm almost at the end point. So you keep turning it till you turn out everything. So when you turn it out like this, you will see that it is puffy. So you just need to take it to the ironing table and iron it very flat, or you top stitch on it like I said. So just bring out everything as much as you can. So now it is turned. The next thing now is for me to go iron it so that it can be flat. And like I said, you can see that this is a bit tiny, it's small, because I'm just using this to show us for illustration purpose. So if you want yours, if you want to do yours now, you can think of maybe making your flounce like 5 inches long or 4 inches long, so that it will be bigger than this. But at least we're doing this now, so we'll see the outcome this is going to give us by the time we are through. So now I'll take this to the machine, to the ironing table now, and iron it flat, then bring it back to show us. Okay, so this is ironed now, and you can see that this is lying really flat as against how stubborn it was looking before. So now the next thing to do now is to thread your needle, your hand needle. Okay, you tie it at the mouth and from this opened end, but you can see that we've closed it both on top and below. Now it is neatly finished. So on this curved edge now, we will start picking it and gathering it using our needle and thread. So you gather it as close as possible. So you just keep doing your running stitches like this, and then you drag it till you gather everything. So you keep doing it, and like I said, it has to be tightly gathered. So you gather it as close as possible. You drag it really closely, and then you continue gathering it like this till you gather you gather it like this till you gather everything. So once you gather it, you drag it really close, so you can see how close this is. It's really tightly close together, and then you continue gathering it till you gather everything. Okay, so I'm almost at the end now, and I gathering it. So when you get to this raw edge where you turned it out from, I'm just going to fold these rough edges in and then continue my gathering. Okay, so I folded it in, so I'm just going to gather it. With this now, the rough edges will be concealed. I'm just sewing on top of my folds, and then I've gathered everything completely now, so I'm just going to pull my thread. So I'm pulling the thread, and I have this. So like I said, you need to pull as close as possible. You can see how spiral this is forming. So when you've seen that you've tightly pulled everything, you're just going to tie it and lock your thread somewhere here. So now I'm going to be demonstrating to us how we're going to be attaching this to our body. So you can actually attach it anywhere. It can be on your neckline, the waist area, anywhere you want this flounce to be. It's going to be for you. So now I've tied it now, and then so you can do as depending on how many spirals you want. You can do as many as you want. So I have another one here. I'm just going to bring a blouse that I have, then I'll use it to show us how I'm going to be attaching this. I'll be adding it to this bodies now. So now you can either sew it or tack it like this. Okay, you tack it like this to where you want it to be. You tack it with your needle and thread, and if your machine can sew it, you sew it. Then you cover this area with trimming, or you tack it from behind like this so that it can fall back like this, and then these rough edges will be showing. So it may not really fall because it's quite small. So after sewing it like this and you bend this over, you may need to tack it here and there so that it can lay well for you. And like I said, I used just 3 inches, and you know, from the 3 inches I still turned this here and here, so it's made this really small. So if you want something really big and standing well, you can use like 5 inches. So I'm just going to be pinning this around the mannequin now so that we will see what this is looking like. So I'm just going to be pinning it, and like I said, it can be anywhere. It doesn't have to hang around the neckline. It can be anywhere you want it to be. I'm just going to be showing us how it looks like if it is hanging around the neckline, so that we can appreciate this beautiful flounce. Okay, and like I said, if you're using like scuba fabric or any foaming fabric that it can stand on its own and it doesn't feel, you can also use like a boning for this. You can use a boning for this, but crinoline works really well too, and you can see how beautiful this is looking. The secret is just that you have to drag your gathers very well. It has to be, the gathers has to be dragged very close to each other. So I've exhausted what I have here, and you can also make it double like your flounce. You can make your flounce double, like having this one like this can even be on one side. After doing that, you can also push this aside and make this. You can see that it's giving it a fuller effect. So it depends on what you want. So this other one, I'm just going to be pinning it around the other side like this. You can see how it just flows very well. It's really beautiful and elegant. So you need to do more if you want more around your neckline, but this is what my fabric can take, and it's really looking beautiful. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you enjoyed this, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.